What up, guys? Welcome back to Mic'd Up with Jake, and today's takes are going to be about baseball. So, we're halfway through the season, All Star break just happened, and that means the trade deadline is coming up. So, if you could see here, I made a tier list, and in each tier, we're going to talk about whether a team should go all in, a team should just do a couple buy in a couple pieces to make their pursuit of the World Series a little better, or if they should stand pat, make a small move, maybe make a wild card, or if they should be sellers and just rebuild for next year, get a couple young talented players for old aging stars that can compete for a World Series this year. Then in the last tier, I have no chance. These teams have no direction, no leadership, nothing. And there's a couple of these in today's league. So let's get into it. The first team I have is the Yankees. So the Yankees obviously came up short in the World Series last year. They've kind of hit a little road bump. I know Schmidt just went on the IL and he will be out for the rest of the year. But the Yankees have one of the best offenses in the league and kind of middle of the road pitching. So if they could if they could just add a couple more pitchers, I think they could easily get back to the World Series. I also do think they do need maybe another bat to help Aaron Judge. But the Yankees are still right there. I do think the AL is pretty weak compared to the NL, and they're still very much in their division. If I was the Yankees, I would still go all in, get right back to the World Series. And the next one in their division is the Rays. So the Rays, I don't know how they do it. They're always a playoff team, and right now they are sitting 1.5 games behind the wild card team. And to me, I wouldn't go all in like the Rays. The Rays usually don't go all in, but if I were them, I'd go for the playoffs. I would make a small move, maybe stand pat, but I think the Rays need a pitcher, probably need another bat. But I could see them totally standing pat or making a small move to get into the playoffs for sure. Next up is the Red Sox. So the Red Sox, they're they're sitting in another wild card up. They're 1.5 games up over the Mariners right now. They finished winning 10 games in a row to end the first half of the season. So the Red Sox offense is really good. Walker Buehler has kind of struggled for them. I think they do need another pitcher. So let's go with the Red Sox. I mean, Crochet's been really good for them. If they can get another elite pitcher and maybe some bullpen pieces, if I were the Red Sox, I would be small bar. I would be soft buyers. Nah, we're gonna put them in. I say go on. The Red Sox, why not? They just traded Devers, but their offense is still fine without him. Bregman is gonna come back healthy soon. He's been great in the first half. Yeah, if I were the Red Sox, I'd go get a pitcher. Next up, the Blue Jays. I give them respect. They're through the first half, they're winning their division, and that's a shock to me. I didn't think they have enough pitching. I know Bo Bichette is pretty good. Guerrero is good. I think the Blue Jays. I don't think they're good enough though to be in a World Series contender. I would I would I would stand pat because I would if I were them I wouldn't mortgage their future for just this one year because I still don't think they're good enough regardless. I don't think they're one or two pieces away. If that's what I'm trying to say. I think the Rays and the Blue Jays are both kind of the same teams, and I think they should either do a couple moves to get into the playoffs so they don't. I don't want them to trade young prospects for this year because I don't think they could win a World Series. And the next up's team, very disappointing so far. The Orioles. I think this is a lost season for the Orioles. If I were them, I would sell off a couple vets get a couple pieces for next year and start over again next year. They have a lot of good players. They don't have enough pitching. They let Corbin Burns go. I think I think they just got to call it for this year. They're very young. They still have some time. But coming up next, we got the Mariners. So the Mariners are about they're kind of middle of the road offensively and pitching. And they are the third wild card team though currently, led by Rodriguez and Gilbert as their pitcher. I know Gilbert's been hurt for most of the year, but he came back and hopefully he can finish strong. The Mariners, the Mariners, they're a tricky one. They're kind of like the Rays. I don't think they have an overall roster, and I don't think they could do enough at the deadline to push them over to a World Series. But I still feel like they're good enough to make the playoffs. So why would you sell? If I were them, they still got Castillo, they still got Gilbert, they got Rodriguez, they got Randy. I mean, they got a good squad. They got Cal. If I were the Mariners, go for it. They're still behind in their division of the Astros. But if they get into the playoffs, as we know in baseball, who knows? So if I were them, I would be soft buyers. Go get another bat. Go get another pitcher. And we'll see what happens. Next up, a team I was just talking about, the Astros. They're always good. They always have a good offense. They always have a good pitching staff. So if I were them in a weak AL like the Yankees I was talking about, I would go for it. Go get another bat for Altuve, Pena. They traded Tucker to the Cubs this offseason, but really hasn't affected them that much. If I were the Astros, try to get back to the World Series. I mean, they still have a really good team. Next up in their division, I got the Angels. So the Angels are actually not that bad this year, but they're middle of the road, and I don't think they're a team that should sell prospects to get into the playoffs because they're not going to do anything in the playoffs. They don't have the pitching staff to compete in a 5-game series, a 7-game series. So I would say the Angels. Since let's see, the Angels, they're 4 games out of the wild card. That's nothing in baseball, but I think the Angels are they're gonna fall off. If I were them, I would sell. They're getting close, but they're not there yet. And next up, we got the A's. So the A's actually have not a bad offense. Their offense is not bad. The A's are usually, let's see, they're 11 games out of wild card. They have clearly no chance, but they got Brent Rooker. They got a couple guys that I like. So I would sell. You for sure have no chance this year. But I say when they get to Vegas in 2028, just keep building until then, and then they should be pretty good. So just keep selling those veterans and keep getting prospects for the A's. Next up, we got the Rangers. The Rangers. The Rangers, they're only 3.5 games out. They're 48 and 49 right now. They got DeGrom, who's always good. The Rangers do have one of the best pitching staffs in the league right now. They have let's see, looking at my notes, they got the number 1 team ERA in the league. So their offense has been the issue clearly this year. I know Seager is usually always hurt, but when he's healthy, he produces. If I were the Rangers, maybe get another bullpen piece and for sure another bat. I mean, if kind of like the Red Sox, if they get in with their pitching, Crochet, like the Red Sox have Crochet, the Rangers have DeGrom, they can get another pitcher and another bat. Who knows what could happen in the playoffs? So I wouldn't go all in if I were the Rangers, but I would for sure buy because They're right there. They have a good pitching staff. Get a couple bats, and the Rangers could do damage in the playoffs. I mean, they just won a World Series not too long ago. Next up, we got another team that kind of like the Orioles kind of disappointed me this year. They got a couple good pitchers. Obviously, Bobby Witt is phenomenal. His power is kind of not been as good, but Bobby Witt's defense and he gets on. The Royals, though. The Royals are right now sitting 4.5 out. The Royals. I would sell. I would try to sell one of their pitchers at Luego. Try to get better for next year because I don't think they have enough this year. Last year's team, in my opinion, was way better, and I do think the AL is a little better this year. Mm, yeah, yeah. I would if I were the Royals, I would be in the middle of standing pat and making a small move to try to get into the playoffs. But I don't think the roster overall they have enough to win a World Series. Obviously. Next up, we got one of the worst offensive teams in the league, and that's the Cleveland Guardians. If I were the Guardians, I would also be a seller. I don't think they have a good enough offense. Their pitching is always pretty good. Let's see where their pitching. Their pitching's about middle of the road right now. Yeah, their pitching's about middle of the road. I would I would sell a couple of their older vets for next year. They got to the ALCS last year, but I haven't seen that same team this year, especially with the team we're about to talk about soon, who's running their division right now. Because right now the Guardians are sitting 4.5 as well out of the wild card, and I don't see them doing anything really with their offense. Next up, we got the Twins. So the Twins are kind of like the Guardians. They're just always a couple games under 500. If I were them, I would sell. I think it's time for the Twins because they got Correa, they got Buxton. They have a decent offense, but their pitching is they got Ryan, but they're not doing anything. Then the Twins never do anything. I think it's time for the Twins to sell a couple of their vets off. Maybe get rid of Correa. I know he got hurt. I would I would try to get see what you can get for Buxton. I think it's time for the Twins to do a little rebuild because right now I don't they have no chance to win a World Series. Next up, we got a team that sucks. It's the White Sox. The White Sox are once again one of the worst teams in the league, and they don't have really. They have a decent bullpen, but I don't know if many teams would want a couple of their guys. Uh, yeah, the White Sox have no chance for years. I would sell maybe Luis Roberts. I don't know why they're holding on to him. Maybe it's because other teams don't really want him. But if I were the Sox, sell the team. You guys have no chance for years. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sox fans. Well, a different team is the Tigers. They have the number one team in the league through the first half of the season. I'm impressed. I mean, obviously they got one of the best pitchers. Javi Baez has been better this year. They got Carpenter. They have a good team. I think they got Flaherty still. The Tigers are missing a couple. This is why we're talking about this trade deadline. The Tigers need a bat. They need an elite bat and another pitcher maybe. And I think the Tigers can maybe go. They can for sure compete for a World Series if they go all in. They need to go all in because as of now, I don't think they're going to win a World Series. Even halfway through the season, they're still not good enough. The Tigers definitely need a bat though, for sure. Next up, we got the Miami Marlins. If I were them, let's see, they're right now 7.5 games behind the wild card. They're in a tough division. They are like the Sox. They need to sell. anything they have. Maybe get rid of Sandy Alcantara. See what you can get because the Marlins they need to keep gaining young prospects because right now they have no chance for years, especially in their division. Like this team right now, we're going to talk about the Phillies. The Phillies are going to be in a battle with the Mets for the rest of the year. Um, the Phillies have a great offense. They could use a couple bullpen arms. If I were the Phillies, I would go all in. They have the players to. They have Harper. They have Schwarber. They have Trey Turner. They have They have a couple good starters. For the Phillies, go for another bullpen piece, another bat maybe, and they're right in the mix for a World Series, 100%. Next up, we got a disappointing team, Atlanta. The Atlanta Braves are sitting 9.5 games out of the wild card. The Miami Marlins, who I just talked about, are 2 games in front of them. I get it. Chris Sale and Strider have been kind of in and out of the lineup, and Acuna just kind of he's been great, Acuna, but he was hurt for the first half of the beginning of the first half of the season. Riley, their whole offense has kind of been disappointing. I know Sale. We don't know when Sale's coming back. I think for the Braves, you gotta. The thing with the Braves is I think they're a good team, but I don't know how they're gonna overcome this. They still got plenty of time. If I were them, I would make a small move, maybe sell a little bit, or just buy a little bit because if they can get hot, if they can get another pitcher and maybe another bat, who knows what could happen. But right now, they could also be in the seller category because they're kind of digging themselves in a big hole here in the second half in a tough division. I think winning the division for them is out of the picture. They need to go on a run to make the wild card. So that's why I say either stand pat, get ready for next year, or sell or buy a couple guys to make a playoff push. Definitely don't get rid of Acuna. I've seen rumors like that. That's absurd. Don't. The Mets. They got Sean Manaea back. Peterson's been back. The Mets have had a great. They have. Let's see. The Mets pitching staff has been really good this year, and they are, like I said, they're going to be in a battle with the Phillies the whole second half. So it's about what could they do to get to themselves to a World Series because they were only 2 games away last year from going to a World Series, and they beat the Phillies in the playoffs. So we got to put the Mets in buyers. They definitely could win a World Series if they go all in, no doubt. They have one of the best closers. They have one of the best offenses. They have Juan Soto. They have McNeil. They have Francisco Lindor. The Mets have everything they need to win a World Series. Just keep buying, get rid of some young prospects, and they could win a World Series, no doubt. Next up, we got Washington. They already fired their GM. They already fired their manager. They're clearly in seller mode, but they have some pieces that I like, so they could build for the next seasons. I wouldn't put them in no chance because I like some of their pieces. James Woods has been great. Mackenzie Gore has been good this year. I mean, the Nationals have some talent. That's why I like them in this category compared to the Sox. But yeah, Washington already made it clear that they're ready to start selling. Next up, we got the Brewers. The Brewers have ended the first half pretty strongly. They are sitting right now 4 games up on the first wild card seed, and they're still competing with the Cubs for their division. The Brewers, I would be. They're always good. I don't know how they do it. I mean, they got a good team. They got Yelich. They got good pitching always. They got that rookie that's just made his All-Star debut. If I were the Brewers, yeah, I'm gonna put them in the soft buyers because I think they're a couple moves away from competing for their division easily, and maybe possibly making a run. So if I were them, I'll go for another bat. They for sure need another bat. because they can get into some offensive slumps, and maybe another pitcher, because if they get in too, they could be very dangerous. I would 100%, if I were the Brewers, be buying, no doubt. I wouldn't necessarily say move every single prospect to compete, because I don't know if they're there, but they're kind of like the Rangers and the Mariners, where I think they're close to for sure compete for playoffs and maybe do some damage. Next up, we got the Pirates. Ah, poor Paul Skeens. They have a couple great young players like O'Neal Cruz, but if I were them, they gotta be sellers. They gotta get rid of some like Reynolds. They gotta start building around Skeens, because if you have a once in a generational pitcher, you have to do what you can to build a team around him. Imagine the Pirates with Skeens and two or three good pitchers behind him with a good lineup. They would be a playoff team. So the Pirates need to get it together. Otherwise, they just need to sell their team, because they cannot blow this opportunity with Paul Skeens. And the Pirates just make me mad. They have a great stadium. I don't know what they're doing. They've been rebuilding for years. What are they building? They finally got their guy that they've been rebuilding for, Skeens, and they haven't done anything. So the Pirates, get it together, or you should sell your team. Next up, we got a team that's been pretty good, surprisingly. I honestly, personally thought they had no chance. The Cardinals right now, they are sitting only 1.5 games out of the wild card. I don't think they're as good as the record indicates, though. I think they will fall off a little bit, so that's why I'm saying I wouldn't go all in. If I were the Cardinals, I would stand pat if I were them, or make a small move to maybe push for a playoff team. But overall, I just don't think they have the offense to do it, the pitching staff to do it. They would need a lot of moves at the deadline to get to a World Series team. So that's why they just like in my opinion, the Rays, no matter what they do at the deadline, I don't think it'll be enough. Unless they sell the farm, but why would they sell the farm if they're a mid team? I would say the Cardinals for sure stand pat, or they could be sellers, get rid of. They've been trying to trade Nolan Arenado for a couple seasons. Maybe trade Sonny Gray. If I were the Cardinals, I wouldn't rule out being sellers. But I could also stand pat, make a couple moves, go for the playoffs, 100%. Next up, we got the Reds. The Reds are kind of like the same as the Cardinals. They are 2.5 games out of the wild card, so they're just right behind them. I like their offense. Their pitching staff is really not that good. No matter what they do at the deadline, it won't be enough. I think the Cardinals and the Reds are the same team. They both need to make some small moves. They have a good managers, but nothing they'll do at the deadline will do anything. I say either sell or make a move or two to get yourself into the playoffs, get fans excited. Next up in the division, right now leading the division and having a great season is the Cubs. They have the second best record in the NL. That's in front of the Phillies and the Mets. The Cubs, great offense. I think they need another bat and for sure another starting pitcher, maybe two. But if I were the Cubs, go all in. You already traded for Kyle Tucker this offseason. You guys need to pay him, but go all in, 100%. Go all in if you're the Cubs. You're leading the division. You have the second best NL record. Why wouldn't you go in? They have one of the best young players in the league right now, and he just made his All-Star debut. If I were the Cubs, get a pitcher, get another bat, some bullpen pieces, and you're right in the mix for a World Series, 100%. Next up, we got a team that might be one of the worst teams I've ever seen. And I was thinking about the White Sox last year. No, it's the Rockies. The Rockies need to sell their team. They're horrible. They're horrible. The Rockies have 22 wins and 74 losses. Guys, come on. 22 wins? That's horrible. They have nothing. Nothing I like. They have no direction for years. I feel sorry for Rockies fans. They gave Chris Bryant one of the worst contracts I've ever seen. They just have no direction. They need to sell their team. I'm sorry. There's nothing else to say about the Rockies. They have nothing. Next up, we got the Padres. So the Padres have the third NL wild card right now. Then I don't think they're as good as last year. I really thought if they beat the Dodgers last year, they could have won a World Series. I Bogarts has not been a good contract for them. They need another They need another offensive bat for sure. They need another pitcher because Musgrove's out for the year. King's been not really. King's been hurt. Darvish just came back. Padres though they have Manny Machado, Tatis, and Arias to build around. And Merrill's been inconsistent, but they have a good offense. They need a couple. I would say get a big impact bat and maybe another starting pitcher and a bullpen piece, and they could easily be right back where they were last year. So if I were the Padres, I know Preller likes to go all in. I just don't think they're as good as last year, but for sure the Padres need to be buyers. They need to make some. I mean they need to make some moves. I don't see them right now being a World Series team, but with some small tweaks and maybe a good impact bat, they for sure could get themselves back in the World Series mix. Next up, we got a team that made a move is the San Francisco Giants. They just traded for Devers. The Giants have been really good this year. They're sitting half a game out of the wild card, but they've been good. They have a good pitching staff. I think they need a couple more bats, just like the Padres. I think they're right there. Are the Giants? Go in for it. I don't think they need to go all in. They need to save some pieces for next year, but the Giants are right there too. They're really good, and I think they're just missing a couple more players to compete for not only the playoffs, but maybe doing some damage. So that's why I'm saying for the teams in this tier, soft buyers, all these teams. Right now, I got the Mariners, the Rangers, the Brewers, the Padres, and the Giants. They could all win a World Series, in my opinion, if they make some moves. I'm not saying to go all in and trade their whole farm because I don't think that would be enough for them. But make a couple moves and see how it works for sure. But do not stand pat if I were these teams. They have too good of rosters right now to stand pat. Next up, we got my team, the reigning champion, the Dodgers. So the Dodgers, they're winning their division right now. They have the best record in the NL. They have a lot of injuries. If I were the Dodgers, you have to go all in. You're right there. They You have to go all in. I mean, what would they get though? Because they have pitching. They have pitching. It's just on the IL right now. They have Snell. He's supposed to come back. They just had Tyler Glass now come back. Otani's just started pitching again. So that's what I would say the Dodgers need is more reliable pitchers, but they're on the IL. So it's like, do you go all in for guys that you kind of already have just on the IL? If I were the Dodgers, I would make some small tweaks actually. Get maybe another bat, maybe for sure another bullpen piece because their bullpen has been not good this year. And I think the Dodgers are right back into the World Series with a couple small tweaks, 100%. They need to stay healthy because if Snell doesn't come back, they're going to regret not being all in on a starting pitcher. But I'm not putting him in go all in because I don't think they really need to. They don't need to go buy for a starting pitcher because I think the Cubs need to go buy for a starting pitcher. You know what I mean? Next up, we got on our last team, we got the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks right now rank third in OPS in the league. It's just their pitching. They lost Corbin Burns for the year, and that hurts. There's been rumors about getting rid of a couple of their offensive players. They have a good team. I really like their offense. It's just they don't really have a good pitching. They're right now the Diamondbacks they're only sitting 5.5 games out. Mm. See, kind of like I wouldn't say they're like the Braves because they're not too far out. That's why I'm saying I would if I were the Diamondbacks, I would maybe go trade for a starting pitcher because their offense is good enough to keep going and do some damage in the playoffs. I would be ah, the Diamondbacks are tricky. Do they give up prospects this year when they're sitting 5.5 games out? If I were the Diamondbacks, I wouldn't sell. I wouldn't sell, but I wouldn't make crazy moves because they might not be. I'm not sure about this, guys. I'm having a hard time with the Diamondbacks. I would say we got to put the Diamondbacks since their offense is so good. I think we got to put them in small buyers. I think they should buy. I think they have Zach Gallen already. They have a good offense. Go get a couple more players. See what you can do. If they come up 1 or 2 games short, so be it. At least they made their fans happy to try to compete. Do not get rid of Zach Gallen. There's no point right now. There's no point. If they were the Braves right now, sitting 9.5 games out, I would say the Diamondbacks need to sell their players. But they're still in it. They're still in it, and I would go for it. I think their offense could do some damage if they get in. All right, guys. But other than that, that's pretty much what I got for you. So let's go. Let's recap here. So the teams that I think have no chance for years is the Sox, the Marlins, the Pirates, and the Rockies. I like I like the Nationals and I like that Athletics future. I think they have a chance in future years. That's why I don't think they should sell their team. But the Pirates, what are you doing? They make me mad. Then in our next tier we got well we'll keep talking about the sellers, the Orioles, Angels, Royals. I think I think they're good teams, but I don't think I don't think they're good enough to really be buying. You know what I mean? I think the Rays, Blue Jays, and Braves are kind of like the same. They could make a couple moves, but they could also stand pat and not blow up their team for future years. And then the teams that I think should go all in for sure. The Yankees get a starting pitcher. Astros getting starting pitcher. Red Sox getting starting pitcher. Phillies get an elite bullpen piece. Mets same. Get anything you guys can to win a World Series because the teams I have on this tier right here, the buyers, they could easily win. And the teams that are in the soft buyers, they could easily do damage in the playoffs if they get in. So there is, let's see, about 14 teams that I think could win a World Series. They just got to make some moves at the deadline and we'll see what happens. But other than that, guys, this is my take. Thanks for watching, guys, and peace out.